Sheriff Todd, Baxter, employees of the Monterey Sheriff's Office. District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, employees of the Monterey District Attorney's Office. Paul C. Messer and James Young Jr., Penn Court, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man in jail 6 times. And 6 times the prosecutor had to talk to the court. I've been convicted on paper, by fiction and lies, by psychopaths at the Sheriff's Office and District Attorney's Office who are forcing me into a corrupt judge. What are the names of my prosecutors? Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buck, Michelle Crowley at the District Attorney's Office, and Public Defender Julie Sianka, and Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips at the Public Defender's Office. This is the Freedom of Information Law, which I should read here, or I will read, on this Thursday, November 30th, that you've already received. Because on this August 1st, 2023, this is in the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office over and over, registered mail return receipt, since August 1st. August, September, October, November. This is 4 months ago. For 18 plus months, for 3 years, I'm demanding names of my prosecutors. That's right here. Perry Duckles, Deputy District Attorney. Perry Duckles, Michelle Crowley, Bucky, Mark Monahan. Those 4 names are copied on here now. Mark Phillips, Mike Rather, the $0 employee of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. You paid private money, Michael Rather, to exist at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and Todd Baxter refused to disclose that to me. When I contact Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli in Albany, I'm going to tell the Controller of the State of New York that he's refusing to answer. What's the answer from your boss, Scott O'Berty, Kathleen Miller, William Tadeo, about $0 Michael Rather? You know he's paid $0. I don't have to be any type of government official to demand this from Todd Baxter about his employee, Michael Rather. That foil has arrived in the office with Todd Baxter signed for and ignored it. $0 employee, what a joke. So on here, Todd Thurston, you're on here, the $82,000 community engagement officer, Paul C. Messer and Julie Siaka. So Perry Duckles, you're on here, August 1. Repeatedly, this has arrived. I've been to jail 6 times, 6 times prosecutor in your office, did not talk to the court to make an armament into the crime. This is called insanity. It's insane for any citizen in New York to have a life destroyed by total silence in a courtroom by one corrupt judge. The reason a prosecutor's never talked to the court is simple. It's impossible to make an argument that I committed a crime. I'm convicted on paper by a freaks, fanatic, sociopath, District Attorney's Office, Sandra, Doorley. I'll skip down here, but this is the relevant sentence. For all the language on here, which is 1,000 plus words, where I'm most interested in the language I write, because that forces you, or should force you, to disclose the names of my prosecutors you ignore. Mail the names of my prosecutors, the address, or email list below my name. This is why you're corrupt. Every name on here, this is corruption. Because when I'm forced into a courtroom where the prosecutor doesn't talk to court before the corrupt judge, who is it? Paradox, I'm going to repeat this again for you, and for you, public defendant Julie Sianka. Mail the names of my prosecutors, the address below, email list below my name. All your emails are up there. So that's you, Paradox. On this same day, because I was writing this language for the 48 hours leading up here, Julie Sianka, public defender. I repeatedly sent via registered mail return receipt of Freedom of Information Law that requires you to disclose the names of our process. You refuse by returning the large mail envelopes to my address, Ball Park Avenue. This is corruption and you don't know it. I've been in jail 6 times. 6 times a sociopath, fanatic, and freak from the District Attorney's Office did not talk to court. When I appear in front of this disgusting Star James, an innocent man, I have prosecutors signed to that appearance. I prosecute silence before Penn Court Judge John P. Renzi, Jr., Penn Court Judge Paul C. Metz, and New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi. What remains of my prosecutor silence? You know. I'm going to repeat that again for you, public defender Julie Sianka, for $140,000, for you, assistant public defender Marfo, for $87,000. What remains of my prosecutor silence? You know. It's not information you can legitimately say, we don't have this at the public defender's office. At one point during this insane destruction of my life, character, integrity, Regina Harper at the public defender's office, her exact words to me were, quote, the prosecutor's not backing down, end quote. That's the psychopath before $28,000 bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzer, who's like this, I know. And then you freaks and sociopaths had some little event. We all gathered together at the district attorney's office. I looked at an employee, you were crouching. It looked just like it, but I don't know. I don't have certainty. When I don't have certainty, when I'm sure, I'll state it, which I just did right now. What are the names of my prosecutors? So Julie Sianka and Perry Duckles on that August 1st. So I sit here in my little $600 apartment in Rochester, New York, where I hope some freak is not pounding on the door, or some freak with the windows right here is screaming outside. Because there are freaks all over Rochester, New York, screaming at each other. You know this, employees, sheriff's office, district attorney's office. public defender's office. Because the city of Washington, D.C., where I lived for 5 years, U.S. House U.S. Senate staffer, doesn't have freaks all over screaming at each other. The city of Albany, where I lived 5 years, where I worked for the majority leader and governor, doesn't have freaks all over screaming at each other. They are everywhere. I was just on Monroe Avenue to scan this. And when I'm on Monroe Avenue, it's the same woman, she's about 70 years old, who's a panhandler, who I have sympathy for. There's the panhandler I walk by with sympathy for and ignore, and then there's the aggressive panhandler, and this woman is repeatedly asking me for money, and I just walk right by her, and it really is a tragedy of life when somebody's that age. She's about 70, out there asking people for money. I think she's probably asking for money 30 times. I just walk right by her. And then the panhandlers, I'll tell them, get my exact words, get the fuck away from me, when they're right next to you. I now know, unlike Washington, D.C. and Albany, because there aren't these panhandler freaks in these cities, the difference ways that panhandlers behave. They're the ones that will just ask for money and walk by you and ignore them, and I don't have no communication contact with them. And they're the ones that are right next to you that are constantly, relentlessly asking for money, that I will tell them, get the fuck away from me. So, November 30th. Who are the prosecutor's signs? What are the names of my prosecutor's signs? How am I in jail when a prosecutor does talk in court? Before John P. Lomenzo Jr. Pemberton Court, Paul C. Metzer Pemberton Court, and Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. How's that happen to any citizen in the state of New York when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Perry Douglas, Mark Moynihan, Liz Buck, Michelle Crowley, Mark Phillips, Julie Sianka. How does it possibly happen? It has an answer. It's because of a corrupt psychopath judge. So, Freedom of Information Law, August, November 30th, 2023. Documentation of the case of Christopher Childs for John P. Lomenzo Jr. Pemberton Court was named the prosecutor, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is the payroll for the District Attorney's Office. And the freaking sociopath, who I believe is Julie Hahn, who's now in Monroe County Court with 70% of the vote, is right here. But if I'm incorrect about that, if I'm incorrect that this is Julie Hahn, who's Monroe County Court, then the freaking sociopath is right here. Who is it? Tell me the name of my prosecutor for John P. Lomenzo Jr. that sent me to Monroe County Jail when this freaking sociopath didn't talk in court. Freedom of Information Law on this Thursday, November 30th. This is the boy. This is Regional Harper says to me, the boss not backing down. This is the boy in the Facebook picture. I think is him. If he had integrity, character, decent morality, he would call me to the district attorney's office for an interview. I could have sat in his office. He has an office, or whatever it is, your little shack, 47 South Fitzhugh, and he could have interviewed me about Michael Houlihan and Don Benedetto hiding on the private property of my 80-year-old neighbor. I've talked about that, where I'm charged with attempted felony assault. When Michael Houlihan perjured himself to your grand jury, Michelle Crowley, when he said I swung a hammer at him in my back porch in Bellevue. Can the cops walk onto private property anywhere in the United States of America? This boy, before Paul C. Metzler, sent me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, and what's his name? Perry Douglas, Mark Moynihan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips. You all 6 names there. You all know. Freedom of Information. Documentation of the case of Christopher Chichester. For Paul C. Metzler, Pemberton Court, what is the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath boy is right here. What's the name of the freaking sociopath boy? Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Things happen to you in life. You think about the individuals you really love in your life that are really close to you. Men and women, friends and family members. And when I was in graduate school at SUNY Albany, my fellow graduate student, Anthony Scardino, was a graduate of the State University of New York in Geneseo. And since I graduated from SUNY Stony Brook, him and I would talk about our different experiences at SUNY. So there I am in the Rockefeller School of Public Affairs and Policy at SUNY Albany with my friend Anthony Scardino, who worked in the same office for the Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs. His name is Paul Simon. And we'd go in there for 20 hours a week, and we talk about all sorts of things. And one of the things we talk about is SUNY. I will never tell my friend, Anthony Scardino, who went out to work for the FBI, that I was in Geneseo, New York, when he went to SUNY. I just will not tell him anything about that. And do you think that when you smash your life into a million little pieces, it's not going to have an effect on that human being and how that human being thinks moving forward? When I went to work in Washington, D.C., when I arrived there in December 2002 to work for Congressman Mark Smith of Texas as his press secretary, Anthony was at the FBI. I called him immediately. So I'm down here, and we working here on the Hill, and we got together, and it was terrific. If I ever saw Anthony again, which I hope to move back to Washington, D.C., where he still lives in Northern Virginia, I will not tell him I was in anywhere near Geneseo, anything like this. It just doesn't matter to you freaks and sociopaths that I'm being prosecuted in total silence and deposited in front of a corrupt judge, and then I'm going to have these life experiences where I think about those in my life I really, truly love and admire and respect. Doesn't matter to you at all because you're all corrupt. That's why. So who elevated me to the exalted one in New York State Supreme Court? It's the prosecutor assigned to the exalted one in New York State Supreme Court, where he's been in there since 2009. I think he was recently reelected. I don't know. I think he may be in there for these 14-year terms. It's ridiculous how long the state Supreme Court judges are in there. And to me, it's controversial to even be elected. It's certainly controversial when he's in there with 25% of the vote. That's a joke and disgrace. State legislature in Albany, Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart Cousins, Speaker Hogan needs to change these laws about allowing these judges to be on a court like Alex Renzi, 25%, and Julie Hines, 17%, where they could just obliterate a life when they have been rejected by 75% or more of the voters. So who forced me into him? It's the prosecutor signed him with further proceedings. And I'll hold up that document momentarily about the ludicrous, lunatic, fringe 1984 of you sociopaths, that district attorney's office. Who did this to me? Freedom of Information Law. It's the prosecutor assigned to this appearance. Documentation of the case for Christopher charges for Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath is right here because this is the payroll for the district attorney's office. The freaking sociopath herself for $210,900. Sandra Doorley knows. And so do these freaks and sociopaths. 144 Perry Douglas, 135 Mark Schwartz, 141 Mark Monahan, 118 Nancy Gilligan, 131 Michelle Crowley, 131 Sarah Van Strydock, 117 Monica O'Brien, 110 Merritt Smith, 131 Raymond Benitez, 107 Alyssa Trulove, 135 Robin Catalano, 131 Elizabeth Buckley, 135 Michael Harrigan, 113 Michael Beezer, 114 Gregory Clark, 124 Jennifer Hyatt, 124 Amanda Bowling, 118 Eleanor Biggers, 120 Scott Miles, 107 Charles Dominic, 124 Patrick Gallagher, 124 Rachel Clark, 114 Bianca D'Angelo, 111 Jennifer Kennedy. Rachel Clark, a copy you want here, rclark at monroecounty.com. The prosecutor, the heroic prosecutor for A.G. O'Reilly and Xavier Perry. The two psychopath teenagers that said Stephen Ammon has on fire. Rachel Clark, what are the names of my prosecutors? Rachel Clark, you call me, 813-648-4441. Take 10 minutes. Why don't you do this? If you're watching me now, it's just 12 minutes, Rachel Clark, what's the problem? I will not attack the integrity of someone I don't know, especially a heroic prosecutor that delivered A.G. O'Reilly and Xavier Perry to state prison. I hope they're there for the rest of their lives, these two. So who is it, Rachel Clark? You can tell me. rclark at monroecounty.gov. If you're watching me this 12 minutes, email it to me. CCharges@JUL4, because that's my email address right here. 813-648-4441. That's it. That's how you contact me and tell me your names and my prosecutor sons. The Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where an attorney's disbarred. That's why I'm demanding these names. I'm also demanding these names. I'm going to direct them directly, each one of these, because I'll eventually acquire their names. That's the other thing. That this psychopath $210,000 fossil, Sandra Doorley, who wallows in being a pathetic victim whining about her health, doesn't really truly understand that I will acquire their names. And I get to come here on YouTube to ridicule you and mock you and tell you you're corrupt and tell you you're criminals and tell you you're psychopaths and freaks at the district attorney's office where you prosecute me in total silence and then you refuse to tell me who it is. A freak right here is John P. Menzo Jr. He released Daniel Glass III. This foil here gets Lindsey Brown and Monroe County Office of Mental Health to my residence. This is why this room is a star chamber. This is why I'm an abomination. This exact foil, I walked over to Penn Court, gave it to the old lady right there, said, I want to see these documents. Lindsey Barron, with a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, comes to my residence because I'm exercising my First Amendment right and demanding documentation for this disgusting, repulsive, sickening star chamber, Penn Court. They refuse to provide this information to me, and there's the Sheriff's Office coming to my residence with this mental health bureaucrat. Free information on the, quote, defective documents, end quote, for the case of Dan Glass III, Penn Court, for John P. Menzo Jr. Paul C. Metzer and James Young Jr. Sentencement. This is in your office. This again arrived in the last, I think, 3 weeks. It certainly has arrived in the last 6 months, 18 months, 3 years. Send me these defective documents for Daniel Glass III, $28,000 bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzer, $34,000 psychopath, James Young Jr. I'm attacked at the gym. My head snapped back by Jermaine Bam. I'm charged with harassment second, sitting in the backseat of the vehicle. I go to Monroe County Jail for harassment second, sitting in the backseat of Andrew Reality's vehicle, which could possibly harass anyone. I've never harassed anybody in my life. Jermaine Behrman The criminal who violently attacks me and snapping my head back appears before you, James Smalley Jr., where I get a subpoena into Penfield Town Court. The Penfield Town Court employee comes over to me immediately, orders me out of the room. Beckman walks in with his attorney because there's a deal between Jessica Wagner, District Attorney's Office, James Smalley Jr., and the attorney for Jermaine Beckman to let this violent Doug walk right out the door. And when I say that Sandra Doorley, the District Attorney of Monroe County, is in the embrace of violence, it's because of Jessica Wagner, District Attorney's Office, freeing this violent criminal, Jermaine Lamar Beckman, who attacked me at the gym, walks right out the door, and I'm in jail for being attacked at the gym and sit in the back seat of Andrew Reality's Monroe County Sheriff Office vehicle. You will never know why you're corrupt. You will never know why you're psychopaths at the District Attorney's Office and Sheriff's Office. Now that I'm on here 15 minutes, just easily conclude why. What are the names of my prosecutors? Monroe County Public Defender Judy Sian, charged with harassment, second seat in the back seat of Andrew Reality's vehicle. I just said that. Criminal time second. I hate this cop freak, this Shannon Meyer, with such intensity, I think I could give myself a heart attack. I'm walking to the parking lot for 4,000th time. Nayrod shot his 50-year-old man who lives with his 7-year-old mother's up here. I'm coming back from Gold's Gym. He starts to scream at me. I say, what's the problem? I have this confrontation with him. He goes to the sheriff's office. When he sees people walk through this parking lot all day long, including Penfield High School students in their athletic apparel. I've walked through this parking lot 4,000 times with the arrest warrant that's going to be concocted by this cop freak, $67,000 Shannon Meyer. I'm going to become, in her diseased, deluded sick brain, New York's 4,000 time criminal. Todd Baxter gave his freak a $16,000 raise. So I have this conversation with him. This cop freak, Shannon Meyer, calls me. I speak to her for 30 plus minutes. I kept saying to her over and over on the phone, why are you calling me? Why are you calling me? People walk this parking lot all day long. She contacts Steve Desner, Brock Tree and Lawn Care. How often do you use civilians at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and law enforcement operations? Because that's exactly what's being done. Because I said this to Desmond and Albert and Laurie Brock Tree and Lawn Care. But this is not a crime. The desperation of this cop freak, Shannon Meyer, to get me in handcuffs. Desmond comes by here. Desmond's got his phone in his hand. The old man's on his tractor. Meyer's waiting for his phone call. Lunatic fringe, you bald-headed, beating muscly skinhead Todd Baxter. This freak, he gave a $16,000 raise. Meyer's waiting for the phone call from the civilian Desmond. The man on his tractor rides by here. I see him. I come outside. He sees me, gets off his tractor, walks away. Because he's not cutting grass that day. His job is to get me to come out of the residence. I come outside, stand right here. I see nobody else on land. I walk back in my residence. Do you think that's a crime? $0 Michael Rattler, Kathleen Miller, William Tadell, Scott O'Berty? I'll tell you the answers. That's not a crime. This is why people hate the police. Whenever I use her name, this revolting sick freak, Shannon Meyer, I always say, this is why people hate the police. So 6 of them, then Meyer runs into my backyard, crash lands on her face. I've been demanding physical fitness standards from Todd Baxter now for 18 months because it is freak. She can't even stand her 2 feet when she's losing her mind, running into my backyard, falling down. There she is in my dirt. I look over like this. There's this insane pounding on my door. I answer the door. Then I hear the lie from the sheriff's office. We just want to talk to you outside. I go outside. Meyer runs around to the front. This hyperventilating freak has dirt on her face, dirt on her uniform. I almost laugh, but I'm not going to be laughing because I know that this is really serious. I'm like, what is going on here? And then the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee says to me on my front lawn, there are 6 of them there. For me telling this man on his track that nobody knows the land, that's my rights. Show us where you standing. I never lie. You constantly lie, you freaks. We just want to talk to you outside out my front door. That's a lie. Show us where you stand, and that's a lie. You just want to get me further away from the door. So I stand away from the door on the grass right here. I'm standing right here again. And Meyer runs up behind me, puts handcuffs on me. This is why people hate the police. You bald-headed stooge, Todd Baxter. Is that a crime, Todd Baxter? Perry Douglas walked behind Elizabeth Buckley. Michelle Crowley, is that a crime? Answer me. If you had decency and character, you'd answer me. Julie Sianka, $140,000 public defender. Mark Phillips, $87,000 assistant public defender. Do you think, giving you 3 years at law school, Julie Sianka, Mark Phillips, for me to walk outside and say, nobody knows the line, walk by Renzi, do you think that's criminal contempt second? Do you think that's a crime? I'll tell you the answer is no. I'm not committing harassment second while violently attacked by Doug and sitting in the back seat of Andrew Rial's police vehicle. This is not criminal contempt second. It's not any type of crime anywhere, except for the Jonestown Kool-Aid drinkers that the Monroe County Sheriff's Office reported. Don Benedetto, Mike Houlihan crossing this res, hit on my neighbor's property. Benedetto and Houlihan come running at me, run away the whole time. Houlihan grabs my arm and hammer. I grab just next to my bike, goes up on my back porch. I run through the sliding glass door. It's impossible to swing a hammer director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, Michael Houlihan, when I ran the whole time. When you convene the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, that I don't know is convened, and when Michael Houlihan, this lying $73,000 cop freak from hell, becomes a perjurer. Do you understand, Michelle Crowley? I ran the whole time. I can't swing a hammer at Michael Houlihan. I'd have to stop and pivot on one of my feet to swing a hammer at Michael Houlihan. And I'm charged with attempted felony assault, where I'm subsequently told by Alex Renzi, after I've been in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. It's either assault or it's not assault. But since I'm in my residence and these Kool-Aid drinkers are outside for the sheriff's office, they're again going to wait in front of my residence just like Richard J. Seaton did. Because I walk into Gold's Gym and Fairport. I'm heading toward Gold's Gym and Fairport. And as I get to the front of Wegmans, I'm thinking, do I want to go to Cam's Pizza or do I want to go to the gym? I'm trying to figure out what I really want to do that day. Gold's Gym, Fairport, Pizza Cam's. Who doesn't love Cam's Pizza? And as I get to the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, 5 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees arrive. And one of these psychopaths and freaks, Sheriff Todd Baxter of Monroe County, got out of his vehicle, ran at me, knocked me down, and my head hit the concrete pavement outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, just like my head hit the ceramic tile of the library floor when $73,000 violent criminal Richard J. Seaton attacked me. And who is it? You know who it is? You know who can tell me who it is? You know who can tell you, Todd Baxter, who it is? You're a female employee with a Marine-style haircut and tattoos. I told Andrew Reale about this too, and there's really nothing from him. Like, he doesn't say to me, what do you mean you attacked outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans? Andrew told me the name of this female Monroe County Sheriff Office employee with the Marine-style haircut. I subsequently saw her when I was arrested for double jeopardy on Penford Road. And when in the backseat of her vehicle, I say to her, you saw me attacked at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. It didn't matter to you. Double jeopardy on Penfield. I'll be talking about that again, I hope, in the next 72 hours when I come back here to YouTube. I'm going to go into detail about that. You stalked me from Old Penfield Road to Penfield Road because the arrest warrant was still out there for something I'd already been in Livingston County Jail for, you Benito Mussolini skinhead stooge, Todd Baxter. I'm New York's 5-day double jeopardy inmate because after 5 days, during that whole 5 days, I'm saying I've already been in jail with this. I'm taking Alex Renzi, and then I say to the Exalted One and his $210,000 salary, I've already been in jail for this. And I think that's the point where he says to me, there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. So I was in jail twice, the fiction and the fantasy of the head of $73,000 cop freak Michael Houlihan for attempted felony assault. I'm New York's 5-day double jeopardy inmate because of Michael Houlihan. Involved in the death of a human being, the Attorney General had to investigate. I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's Wesley Soper. I think he was either in a sheriff office vehicle or a civilian vehicle, and someone is dead because of him. And I'm not going to go on any further about this because I could possibly state a fact that's incorrect. But Michael Houlihan had to be investigated by the State Attorney General's office because he's involved in the death of a human being. He could be directly responsible for someone's death. And Todd Baxter doesn't take his weapon from him, doesn't put him on restrictive duty, and then his freak, he doesn't know yet, he's going to become a perjurer when he walks onto the private property of my elderly neighbor. Can the cops walk onto private property anywhere? I've said this now repeatedly. And you know the answer at the district attorney's office. I don't pretend to be an attorney. I don't pretend to be someone that's graduated law school with this tremendous amount of work for 3 years. You all should be proud of yourself for that achievement, no matter where law school is. And you, Mark, folks, can tell me. If you had a decent character integrity, Mark, you can call me on the phone, and you can answer all my questions. And the 8 questions you can answer, Mark, is can the cops walk onto private property and lie in wait? So, over and over and over, I'm demanding the names of my prosecutors' silence, especially from $140,000. What are the names of my prosecutors? You refuse to answer. And that's a disgrace. It's an abomination, and it's why you're unethical. Your subordinates at the Public Defender's Office, Mark Phillips and Regina Harper, refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence. They sent the envelopes back to me, and I sent to your office. I'm going to put these envelopes in a box. I'm going to mail them to you, Julie Sianka, and sign for it. I have contacted the United States Attorney for Western District, New York, Trinity Ross. I've contacted Attorney General Merrick Garland using registered mail return receipt. I've contacted the Office of Kathy Hochul. And I've informed these officers that have regulatory power and control over Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley, that I have been in jail 6 times, and 6 times the prosecutor has not talked in court. Julie Sianka, if a citizen anywhere in the United States of America is to be delivered to jail, should a prosecutor talk in court? Does a prosecutor talk in court? The answer, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka, is yes. What is wrong with you? Because I have now contacted you via YouTube. There is something wrong with you, and what's wrong with you is you're corrupt and unethical. It's not an exaggeration, it's not hyperbole. Right now, what is our prosecutors, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka? You refuse to answer, that's why you're corrupt, that's why you're unethical. That's why Mark Phillips is corrupt and unethical. That's why Regina Harper is corrupt and unethical. What you are at the public defender's office are de facto employees of the district attorney's office of Sandra Doorley. And you're in fear of the district attorney's office of Sandra Doorley. And that's why I refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence. If it was anybody in your family, Julie Sianka, that was in jail without a prosecutor talking court, I guarantee you're going to demand justice for your family member. Do the lives of others matter? Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka, the answer is no. On this TikTok, you also see a separate one for Perry Duckles, and he's going to do the same thing you're going to do. You want ethical, corrupt hack Julie Sianka? He's going to refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors as well. 6 times I've been in jail, 6 times the prosecutor has to talk in court, and that's because of these disgusting acts of Pemberton Court, Paul C. Metzer and John P. Mender Jr., and then I was elevated to Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. Look at my face, Public Defender Julie Sianka. Now, the names of my prosecutors silence to Christopher.Chichester@mail.com. Do you understand me, Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka? Am I being perfectly clear? Monroe County Public Defender Julie Sianka. Am I being perfectly clear? That's not to understand. I have prosecutor silence. I will contact Sabrina Lamar and every member of the Monroe County Legislature, Public Defender John, and for $140,000 you're refusing every single time to tell me when you know their names. Ridiculous lunatic fringe. The fringe of Todd Baxter is 2025 Penfield Road. January 16, 2023, Todd Baxter, Sheriff. The photographs are why you're a fanatic. This photograph is why you're an extremist. This photograph is why you're a liar. This photograph is why I'm not going to name you 67,000 us being act. Shadow mind. This photograph is why people hate the police. Christopher Chichester, copy to Trinity Ross, Paul C. Metzer, James Maloney Jr., Mark Phillips, Regina Harper, Perry Douglas, Michael Rather. Disgusting hack. Todd Baxter. Private technology. A 2025 Penfield Road for a business called Consumer Insights. You buy to fix it for me. What's the answer? This is why he's corrupt. I'm using his phrase surveillance device, which is right here with the public defender in the person of Regina Harper sent me the images of, and then they call Lindsey Barron. This is another time Lindsey Barron is at my residence. Lindsey Barron of my Office of Mental Health, this bureaucrat is at my residence because I use the phrase surveillance device with the public defender sent me the links to the images. I watched myself on it. So Lindsey Barron came to my residence for that, Monroe County Sheriff Office employees and Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter. And then I go to Penfield Court and demanding defective documents in the case of Dan Glaus III. And just like using this phrase surveillance device, there's the sheriff's office again at my residence. This is why you're in Jonestown. You do not know you freaks are in Jonestown. And I believe that you freaks are under some type of 1984 delusion where you think that there's admiration for you. When you tell somebody if you're at some type of cocktail party or some high society event that you work at the sheriff's office, you think people are supposed to admire you? I think all the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees are like that. There is real, genuine hatred in Monroe County for the employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I think Todd Baxter is in this sick, delusional detachment from the truth where he doesn't understand this fact about his own employees. Why are they over at 99 Exchange checking bags? You know what I'm talking about, public defender Julie Sianka, assistant public defender Mark Phillips, because you've been in there, and you and Mark and I, Mark Phillips and me, have been in there. And you got to go through, of course, security, which is being checked by uniformed Monroe County Sheriff Office employees. At the House Rayburn Building, Senator Russell Building in Washington, D.C., this is done by civilians. This is why he's a bald-headed Benito Mussolini joke and disgrace. Because that's less real law enforcement power you have on the violent streets of Rochester, New York, when his idiot Barney Fife losers are checking bags at 99 Exchange. Do you know this? Perry Douglas, Mark Bonham, Liz Buck, Michelle Crowley? I think the answer is yes, of course. because you've been at 99 Exchange. Do you have to go through the metal detector just like a civilian or a defendant or anybody else, a public defender? And then if you see the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee checking your bag, which of course happens, do you think, what are they doing here? And this is not a law enforcement function. That's what you should be thinking. The next time you, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley, Julie Sianca, Marcos, go to 99 Exchange. You got to take your bag out and put it on that conveyor. And there's the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee checking your bag. These are the things you should think. Two things you should think are, one, this is the lunatic fringe. And two, is this person overweight? Because if the person is overweight, because 50% of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees are overweight, Todd Baxter perhaps wants them where they cannot be doing real law enforcement around violent criminals. I'm confident Todd Baxter puts his employees that cannot pass any type of physical training test at 99 Exchange where they're checking bags. A sick disgrace when I'm looking at this. And do you reach these conclusions too if you watch me now 30 minutes? I'll never know who's watching me because I don't check the views. I only care about a handful of people at the United States Department of Justice. The next time you go to 99 Exchange and your bag's being checked by a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, please think that this is why Todd Baxter is corrupt. Please think that. Because he is. Perry Douglas right here. It's right here. Mail it as I prosecute silence, the address or email listed below my name. August 1st. Who are on the payroll for the district attorney's office that I just showed you. Send it to me. Right here, I'm telling you over and over and over to disclose the names of my prosecutor silence. Julie Sianca, what are the names of my prosecutor silence? You know, disclose the names of these sociopaths, fanatics, and freaks. The attached free information or documents, PDF, when the envelope should return to me. How's that explained to Sabrina Lamar and the other members of the Monroe County Legislature? I think there were 34 members of the Monroe County Legislature. I'll send every single Monroe County legislator a packet about you, Julie Sianca, to be able to see this to you, where you refuse to disclose to me the names of my prosecutors of silence. The lunatic fringe of Todd Baxter is right here. This Benito Muslim skinhead lunatic fringe using the camera on me because of this psychopath Nayraj Shah going to the sheriff's office about a parking lot I have walked through 4,000 times. How many times I've demanded names on prosecutor silence? It's probably 100 times just right there in those documents. This bald-headed Benito Muslim stooge taking pictures of employees underwater in a pool. These are Monroe County Sheriff Office employees underwater in a pool. They're not doing their jobs here. So, again, come in my residence, walk to the park. It's not a crime to walk to that parking lot, employees and freaks at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. So, what am I doing in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo? The tax for violence at Monroe County Jail, TikTok mobile application I used May 20th, 2023. Sheriff Todd Baxter, when I was inmate at Monroe County Jail as an instant manual prosecuting talk court, I received my lunch tray one day, and 10 feet in front of me, a man attacked another man. This became a real fight when neither inmate was injured. But it was a vicious confrontation. It was right in front of me. And then I was in Livingston County Jail as an instant man. I'm in Livingston County Jail because I can't be at Monroe County Jail because I was told I was security risk given what I did to you on YouTube. I was walking to go to speak to a public defender, but before I could open the door, one inmate ran up behind another inmate, knocked him to the ground, and then began to punch him on his head repeatedly. He hit him on top of his head with a closed fist about 10 times. So I stood there watching this, and about 15 Livingston County Sheriff Office employees came running through the door. I was just about to exit, and they immediately broke up this violent attack I won. So 48 hours later, I was told to go to a room with an investigator because the camera saw me as a witness to this violent attack. The first thing he said to me is, "Court, I'm here to talk about the fight and court." And I said to him, quote, "I'm not cooperating with anything that's a fight because I didn't watch a fight. I watched a violent attack on this man," end quote. And I sat there with him for 90 minutes. He was a total professional, asking me on the violence I witnessed, violent attack. He wrote down my language describing it. I read a statement that was about 1,000 words, and I signed a statement as a witness as violent crime. I didn't hear anything about this attack in Livingston County Jail that I witnessed. I witnessed a violent attack in Monroe County Jail. I witnessed a violent attack in Livingston County Jail. I've witnessed attacks at other places because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter. What is going on in Monroe County Jail with violence? I'm not asking you if violence happens. I know violence happens in Monroe County Jail. Inmates attacking inmates, jail employee attacking inmates. That happened to me too, and I explained that on YouTube. Do you have a daily report 7 days a week about violence? There's no violence. You need to be told there's no violence in Monroe County Jail. If an inmate attacks another inmate, do you report it to the district attorney's office. I only have 20 seconds to go, you party switching stooge, you degenerate. What are you going to do is refuse to answer because you're not accountable to anyone. There is violence in Monroe County Jail because I've seen it. I'm going to time attack you with 1,000 words. We're going to be on this app repeatedly. Violence in Monroe County Jail and how you, Todd K. Baxter, can't control violence at your jail. You, Todd K. Baxter, can't control violence at your jail. I'm going to try to attach this violence at Monroe County Jail app so you can watch me saying this to him. This is why he's a stooge and a freak and a criminal and a sociopath. Todd Baxter, Sheriff of Monroe County, is a sociopath. Doesn't matter to him. I'm demanding a state of violence at Monroe County Jail because I was attacked at Monroe County Jail. When I was taken from Livingston County Jail, I did not come home here to Rochester or Penfield. I was at north of Syracuse. I'm not going to state the name of this place, but I will in writing when I contact the appropriate bureaucracies in Albany, Washington, D.C. So I'm at this place, north of Syracuse, and across from me is James Gibson, who was easily past 60 years old. And James and I would talk. And he has a few issues. And I try not to judge somebody like this. In fact, I don't. I'll just say he has a few issues. I just say he's different. So at one point, James says to me, after I'm talking to him for about a week, I went to SUNY Albany. And I really was surprised. And I said, you went to SUNY Albany, really? And I told him I went to graduate school there. And I wasn't sure what to think because he's a little odd and different. And I said to him, James, where's the fountain on campus? And then he says to me, it's right next to the administration building. So I thought, all right, James, is cool. So I'm talking to James Gibson, who was sleeping outside. That's why he was across from me. And in this place I'm in, there were 4 beds bolted to the ground, and I'm the only one there. And there were what I believe are used to be restraining devices on the wall, and there are marks on the floor. This place is an anachronism. It doesn't exist anymore, a place like this, because you cannot house people in these places against their will, and I'm being housed in this place against my will. Because of you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. So there's this employee of this place north of Syracuse where I don't have physical examination before I'm in there. And then when I do have one, I'm released. So this employee would come by this room I'm in, north of Syracuse. Paul C. Metzler is doing this to me. Alex Renzi is doing this to me. Todd Baxter is doing this to me. Sandra Doorley is doing this to me. This is why I'm north of Syracuse, because of those names I've mentioned, those freaks I've mentioned. So this employee would come by and he would want to humiliate me. He would say, how do you like your room? He did this to me over and over. He was about 6 foot tall with a bald head. What I now understand is that a lot of these freaks and psychopaths have bald heads. And I'm trying not to laugh. This is happening over and over and over. Just like the bald-headed sheriff of Monroe County was a psychopath. So I'm looking at this really waste of life come by this room and say, how do you like your room? Walk away. So I'm really done. As my father used to say, I've had it up to here. When I was in elementary school, my father doesn't have a temper. In case you say, I had it up to here with you, Christopher. And I was thinking about that exactly what my father used to say to me. I've had it up to here, with this guy coming here and just humiliating me with this, how do you like your room? So he comes, and I know I'm standing right there because I just got done talking to James Gibson. And he says, how do you like your room? And then I say to him, I like it as much as you doing steroids. And then he opens up the wooden door I'm in, grabs me by the shirt, throws me down to the ground, and he starts to punch me in the head at this place north of Syracuse, where James Gibson, unbeknownst to me at the time, is watching this because I hear screaming in the background. I don't know that this is James screaming. So he's punching me, and I got my legs up, and I'm trying to, as I'm on my back, punch back at him and keep him off. I'm trying to defend myself. I'm not trying to attack him. I'm just trying to stop him from violently attacking me. And then suddenly a gurney is wheeled down to me. And then I'm picked up by these 2 men that wheeled the gurney down. And I'm slammed down on the gurney, and my head hit the steel part of the gurney. And this happens to me because of you, Todd Baxter, you, District Attorney Sandra, you, Paul C. Metzler, you, John P. Lanza Jr., and you, Alex Renzi. My head slams down in the back of that gurney in this place north of Syracuse because of you freaks and sociopaths. And then they wheel me into this dark room. So I'm in this dark room, so I'm strapped down now. There's nobody there. It's about 10 o'clock at night. And one of these freaks who slammed me down on the gurney comes and sits down next to me. And he starts to taunt me. He says he's going to come back and stomp on your balls. The guy that attacked me. This is a different employee of this place north of Syracuse who didn't attack me. The person who didn't attack me is sitting next to me and telling me the person who did attack me is going to come back, his exact words, he's going to stomp on your balls. So I'm laying there strapped down to this gurney, and he's taunting me. And I was in there, he left, and I was in there for an hour. And then when they took the straps off me and I went back, this is when James Gibson says to me, I saw him hitting you. His exact words to me is, I saw him hitting you. And then the next day, I went and talked to the employees of this institution and told the employees, Daniel Dill is the person who's in charge of this place north of Syracuse. What happened? It didn't matter. I'm violently attacked by this place north of Syracuse, and I'm there because of you freak District Attorney Sandra Doorley, you freak Sheriff Todd Baxter, you freak Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, you freak Paul C. Metz from Pamphlet Court, you freak James Tumley Jr. in Pamphlet Court. I'm there at this place being attacked because of you freaks. And it didn't matter to these employees at this place north of Syracuse. So, it's Ryan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia. What's he doing in Atlanta, Georgia? How much do police taxpayers for it? Again, this is what I'm going to conclude with. So now at 40 minutes. This is May 18th. On May 18th, I sent you, I think it was 25 freedom of information law documents. I've sent you as many as 60 at once. The contract signed by Sheriff Todd Baxter to purchase firearms from Mount Sheriff Office employees to include 1, the names of firearms contract, 2, the number of firearms purchased, 3, the total amount of taxpayer dollars purchased firearms. I've written this, I think, at least 20 times since this May 18, 2023, and every single time you refuse because you're corrupt. Because this is the nothingness of life. You exist in nothingness at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. Your entire existence is nothingness. Because I have prosecutors and refusing every single time to tell me their names. Who forced me in to Alex Renzi for further proceedings? Who is it? It's the prosecutor assigned to Alex Renzi. When I contact the appropriate bureaucracies in Albany, Washington, D.C., I'm going to tell these bureaucracies what I just said here about this place north of Syracuse. And when I contact the controller of the state of New York, Thomas P. Knapp, they're going to tell me, refuse to tell me about your contract for your weapons. So you have it. You have the Freedom of Information Law. And again, Perry Duckles on August 1st, I told you to disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence, just like I did on this November 30th, and you refused. So on this August 1st, I told you, public defender Julie Siaka, to disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence, and you refused. Just like I just told you to do that here today on this November 30th. Because you exist in the nothingness of life. Does that matter to you? That I'm an innocent male and I've been in jail 6 times, and 6 times a prosecutor has not talked in court. Every now and again, you get to be a part of justice being done, and that's really quite a thrill when it happens. Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man my whole life.